The luckiest break of all time on the PGA Tour this week at the Mexico Open. We'll get into that. We'll talk about Mitchell's heartbreaking defeat when he said he wasn't going to bet. But, if you know, when you're saying you're not going to bet, we know how that goes every single time. We're going to talk about the Mexico Open. We're going to talk about our weekends, what's going on in the sports and golf world. And we have Mulligan Monday, as well as a new segment for me called Subway Stories. All right, let's tee it up. What is up, everybody? This is Big Drive Energy, a Monday edition, a sad boy Monday edition. But before we get to any of that, let's remove the Mexico Open from your mind. How was your weekend? We're starting to get great weather out here in Colorado, and it's life-changing for me. I really do think I get seasonal depression with the cold. I try not to show it or feel it, but it's very real for me. So this 60 degrees the next 5 to 6 days out here is really going to up my sails. My winds are up, pointing north. My compass is straight north.
Your stinger's up.
My stinger's up.
Yeah, I'm a battered man. I'm not in a good place.
We're removing Potgeiter. We're removing the Mexico Open. We're talking about our weekend sans golf, and then we'll get
okay. Do you want to talk about the Nuggets getting boat raced by the Lakers, or do you want to talk about the Avalanche losing back-to-back games against shitty teams? Do you want to talk about the cold that I've been coming down with? What else? Like, I feel like every hole that I have in my body is being entered by some outside source. I'm just getting penetrated everywhere. I'm getting fucked. I've been fucked. Brian Campbell, whatever. Yeah. Campbell. Yes, Brian Campbell. Oh, dude, I will say, and this isn't a weather podcast, nor is it a geography podcast. We've made that clear, but the weather out here today is also phenomenal. I never thought 51 degrees would change the game for me, but I walked outside and it kind of smells that. I will say this about New Jersey, since it's so humid, you walk outside and even though it didn't rain, it smells a little rainy because there's moisture in the air. And like, there's just this euphoric feeling of spring being around the corner. We all know it's some sort of false prophecy. It's going to snow next weekend, totally fuck everything. But I may actually play golf on Wednesday, which would be a welcomed little outdoor getaway, a little field trip for Migsy to get out on the golf course. I've been working on my swing speed, been in the lab with the speed sticks, and I think I'm picking up a little bit of speed. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm kind of like I'm kind of diving into my golf swing right now. I'm on the path to get better. And, it's one of those things where as a teacher, you tell people what to do all the time, but you got to be about that action, boss. So I'm being about that action, working on my golf game right now. And I actually was starting to look up some little state opens out here to play in the summer.
Making it real. Make it look real.
Yeah, like the Vermont State Open, middle of June. Might go play in the Vermont State Open. That would be fun. New York State Open, I want no part of. I'd get my fucking shit kicked. Let's be real. Either way, I'm not gonna win anything. If I make the cut, I'll be fucking elated. But I don't need to. If it's a state open I need to qualify for, I'm out. Like that. If it's not something I can just sign up for, write my fucking name down and tee it up, then I'm out on that. But the New Jersey State Open is the same weekend as your member guest, so that's immediately out. Great built-in excuse. Don't even have to worry about that one. Because New Jersey's got a lot of really good players as well. I mean, everywhere there's good players, but the Vermont State Open's on my radar. Might look into the Maine, see if Maine's got a state open. Massachusetts, Rhode Island. I might just do a little Northeast fucking tour, my own little tour up here. So trying to give myself some golf to look forward to work towards, to go shoot 75, 74, 75 at, and just be fucking annoyed with myself. But no, there's something about having some golf to look forward to. And I will say, if I'm playing some competitive golf before the member guest, then your member guest is going to feel like a fucking, and it already will anyways, but then it'll really just feel like hee haw with the fuck around gang. Like it's not going to be an overly serious thing where we're so fucking dialed. Like I'm going to roll in there without a care in the world type shit and maybe just go fire like 67.
Well, let's make sure you keep the same energy when I'm hitting it wonky on a few holes and fucking apologizing to you, and you're getting up in arms with me about don't hit this club here, or going full Potgeiter's caddy on me and fucking me. And
dude, if I don't have to caddy for you and I can just play my own game, I can already tell you right now I'm going to play well. I'm just, when you feel like God owes you one. Like, I really feel like God kind of owes me one, after the golf god specifically, not God. He doesn't owe me shit. Clearly, he's fucking giving me the runaround here. But the golf gods, I've gotten piped by them recently, so I'm looking for a little revenge. I'm not moving on yet. I want to, you need to. They say a lot is revealed about somebody when they lose, when things don't go their way. So I've been trying to just kind of sit in it and sit with myself and realize, like, I probably scared my girlfriend this weekend. She was definitely on alert. Not from a domestic standpoint, just from me screaming into a pillow, throwing my phone at the wall, which I did not do this time. The only time I've ever thrown my phone was when the Broncos, who did they lose to? It was not this last season, the season before. I've thrown shit. I did go screaming to the pillow yesterday, but I'm just trying to be a resilient human being. Try to laugh it off, just God keeps throwing shit at me, and I'm just ducking and dodging. I'm like Muhammad Ali, giving it the rope-a-dope. So yeah, my week, fantastic so far. I've never looked forward to a Monday more. Get that fucking weekend as far away from me as you can. And
wow, okay.
We're on to the Cognizant. We're on to Cincinnati. I'm done sitting in it. I'm done being pissed off about it. I'm ready to pick another winner.
I love that. Well, the graphic and our official picks will come out on Wednesday's pod for the Cognizant coming up this weekend. Sure, we'll have some more fire. I'm 2 for 2 in my last non-winner picks and 1 for 2 in my winner picks. So 3 of my last 4 cashed in. Feeling great about that scenario. My weekend was nice because I didn't have a ton to do, which always ends up me doing like cleaning and other things like that. But it's nice to have a couple days to get your shit back in order. And I'm like very prepared for this week, which is not usually like me. I kind of fly by the seat of my pants a lot more than I'd like to admit. So really prepped and ready for this week. Went to the park yesterday. This was during the Potgeiter scenario, and my son is obsessed with T-ball, just completely obsessed with it. He wants to hit the ball, and then he wants you to go get it most of the time. Sometimes he'll go get it, but he'll have you go get it, 10, 15 feet away. Sometimes he gets into one. It rolls down a hill a little bit from where we were, 20 feet away. And then he just loves to point right at the top of the tee, just like, hey, buddy, put it right here. And I'm like, dude, I know we've done this 400 straight times. Like, I know exactly where to put it. And then we met some friends there. So he was sharing or attempting to share the tee ball. And that was sharing is a very tough thing to teach a child. I've learned, maybe one of the toughest. So it's going to be an interesting scenario when we have another kid, him being in daycare more, being around other kids. I get a little worried about his lack of sharing. I think it's a pretty normal thing, but it's also got me worried. Like everywhere we go where he needs to share something, I'm like internally panicked and ready to like grab him and have the same spiel of, hey, we can share. That's not just yours. Or here's this one, redirect him to something new. So I think that's probably been one of the hardest things to teach a kid so far, is just simply sharing, allowing others to use what you're using. And he's like a hog. Like he likes to take
He's a
6
fucking
things. Like,
oinker.
yeah, he wants 4 balls at once. The other kid can't even have 1 or 2. He wants to stash them all in his arms and then do nothing with them, but just be in his presence, them be in his possession. That's it.
Do you realize that God is giving you the energy that you gave our parents probably about 30 years ago? Like you are now the crows have come home to roost for you. You are
I
now
think it's
dealing with the
chickens. I don't think
consequences.
crows roost.
Yeah, the chickens roost. The crows have flown. I think you're correct, but anywho, I think that you were probably the exact same way as a kid, and now you're understanding. Like as you get older, you obviously see what your parents went through, and you kind of understand it a little bit more, and you start to relate more to your parents as you get older. So now I'm sure you can fully relate to what our parents went through, because you were an only child for only 15 months. Like you were, so what is Sawyer? He's a year and a half at this point. What is he, over a year and a
He's
half
like
now?
20 months.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
okay.
like 20 months old.
Well, I know he turns 2 in July, so yeah, okay, so about 20. So you would have already had a 5-month-old. Think about that, because you and I are only 15 months apart. So um, I can only begin to imagine what our parents went through. But yeah, I mean, Sawyer is bringing a little bit of your energy. Like the apple doesn't fall far. Let's just put it that way. So where's he getting this from? Who is giving him this idea? Maybe he sees your shoe closet and he thinks that he needs all the balls like you need all the shoes.
I don't like where this is going,
I'm just
particularly.
we're just tossing around ideas. I'm not putting we're not putting a pin in anything here. We're just skiffing. We're just fucking or riffing. There we go. We're just skiffing, riffing. I'm just throwing out potential reasons why he is the way he is. Like, could it
Yeah,
be his dad? Maybe.
there is a few things that he does where I'm like, fuck, it's cool because I do it, and it's awesome to see your son do the things you do and want to be like you, but at the same time there's some habits and things there that I wish I could alter a bit, and I know it's just like part of his DNA at this point, so I'm kind of hosed on that front. Speaking of kids, real quick, we went to lunch yesterday. Blue Pan Pizza, you ever been there
Dude, I've
in
heard it's
Denver?
phenomenal. No, it's one of the top rated in Denver. I need to hit it.
Yeah, I got an Instagram Target ad. I don't know how it happened that morning. And Michael Malone, Nuggets coach, is a big fan of Blue Pan Pizza. So I was like, oh, Kylie's going out. Let's meet up at this Blue Pan and get some lunch. And they have a Detroit style. It's like deep dish Detroit
I was
style.
just gonna ask, is it Detroit style?
Yeah, you can order, their menu has a lot of different pizzas, but you can order like Detroit style, you can order New York style, and different sets of pizzas they have different options. So like some pizzas, some of the ones with the toppings, you can't order Detroit style. So I wanted to make sure he ordered something Detroit style, but we got like I think the Mountain High Pie or Rocky Mountain, something like that. Just your standard pepperonis, olives, sausage, cheese, meat, whatever. But the crust is phenomenal because I don't know if it's actually bread on the crust part of it, or if it's just like hard, like basically frozen cheese, not frozen, cooked cheese where it's crispy, crusty. But it was phenomenal. And I took plenty of Lactaid before that debacle. And I actually didn't feel too bad yesterday. Anytime I eat lunch, period, whether it's my famous Subway, whether it's the healthiest meal on the planet, a chicken breast with no sauce and rice, I get into a daze. I get that midday lax where I just feel like I ate and I can't do anything about it. I'm staring through a wall, and it hits me no matter what. So it definitely hit me yesterday with the pizza, but I almost feel like tired. Like I want to go to sleep after I eat, especially a bigger lunch. Long story short, there was another kid there. His name was Oscar, born on the exact same day as Sawyer. Like, what are the
Oscar,
chances of that?
as a name, Oscar slaps.
Yeah.
Like, here's a crazy thought. Did you know everybody's going to have a birthday this year?
I feel like you're poo-pooing the fact that there was one other kid in this fucking pizza place, and he had the exact same birthday day too as Sawyer. Like, not just day, but year. They were quintessentially the exact same age to the minutes, basically.
Did Sawyer size him up? Like, was he bigger?
Oh, bro, he was half a head taller than this kid. Oscar stood no chance in a battle royale of the babies.
Oscar beta Oscar.
Oscar's dad had some great hair, like long, curly redhead. And I was like, this guy's got me. This guy, I shouldn't say curly redhead. I should say flowy and red. And I was like, yeah, this guy's going to have.
Oscar probably looked at Sawyer and he's like, I bet you can stare a fucking hole through the back of your dad's head with that bald spot he's got up there. But you can see the back of his eyeballs. Yeah,
speaking of hair as well, we also got Sawyer a haircut this weekend. Great time. Not shout out Naughty Kids, KNOTTY, not naughty. He was actually decent. He was very into the fire engine they put him in, and he wanted to turn the wheel very fast. So this lady's like cutting his hair, and like she's moving like so quick around him, trying to get and I'm sure they have to do this for most every kid, but
like that video of that guy making the margaritas where his body's just he's moving his head around, going all fast, like trying to fucking hammer it out.
Exactly. That's what she looked like, trying to motor around him as he's getting his haircut. We finally put on the hypnotizer, aka Miss Rachel, on the mirror. And the cool part about going to like an actual kid's barbershop is, number one, they've done this a ton. So they know what they're doing, clearly. Not that any barber doesn't, but you just know that they're ready to deal with kids. They had a fidget toy. They had a Pop-It. They had iPads ready. They got to sit in a cool chair. They gave him a lollipop afterwards. Just a cool vibe in general for a 1.5-year-old to go get his haircut. They actually cut off some of his hair and put it in a bag and took a picture of him and like put it on a little postcard and gave that to us. I wasn't quite that into it, but seems like a nice, cute thing to keep as a parent, I guess.
You can stuff your pillows with it.
Yeah, I mean, his hair is pretty thin, unfortunately. He also got that from me, it appears, at this point. But the hair around his ears needed to be trimmed, and so now he's got this suave little fade going up to the longer on top, and he's looking fresh. So kid's haircut. And, okay, real quick, how much do you think this kid's haircut was at a very specialty kids place? I was walking up to this place. It was over in like the Park Hill area, super nice neighborhood. I was like, oh God, this is about to be more than my haircuts are free, but I was fixing to spend a lot.
Well, first of all, the way your hair looks, it should be free. But second of all, I'm trying to read your mind here. I bet it was $30.
Close. It was $19.50.
That's very inexpensive.
I tipped 10. And it was one of the first. Give me anything that you've ran into in the last 5 years where
that's less than $20.
Well, that's less than $20, number one, but you legitimately like thought it was a really great price and probably less than you thought it should be. Yeah,
I don't think I've encountered anything since COVID that's less than I thought it should be. And my expectations are pretty high at this point for what shit is going to cost. I shop a lot at Whole Foods, so I just expect to get bent over every time I walk into the grocery store. But yeah, that is a very good deal for a child's haircut. So I got to tell you, you don't dress your kid very much like a kid. Like I feel like you guys are trying to make him look older. He's got the vest. He looks like Aladdin. I want him to dress like a little kid. I want to see him in the fucking dino onesies. He looks like he should be in 4th grade right now, and I don't like it.
Well, dude, he's kind of outgrowing all of these onesie scenarios. I do like to keep, Kylie's not a big fan of it, but I do like to keep some of the like Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Hulk shirts. There's this Hulk like Avengers shirt that says "Be a Hero." I put him in that the other day. I was like, yeah, this is a baby shirt right here.
Yeah, it's like,
But
just
overall,
let him be a baby. Let him be a little kid. He doesn't need to fucking look all GQ'd out. I mean, he does look very suave. Like, he genuinely could be a borderline model until he opens his mouth and he's got the fucking piranha chompers where you're just like, what is going on inside of there? I'm sure you're already contacting orthodontists, but luckily their baby teeth, they're all going to fall out. So as long as his jaw isn't permanently like moved or anything, then, you know, you can start from scratch. We both had terrible teeth growing up as well. But I want to go back to your pizza discussion because we like to talk about food. I have a fairly hot take, and it kind of stemmed from our trip to Detroit a few years ago, which was a blast, by the way. I think Detroit style pizza is my favorite style of pizza that there is. Like, I love the square because you get the corners. I love a corner. The pieces, and so the way they cut it, there's no piece that doesn't have crust because those pieces in the middle, you know, if you have a little floating bar pie that's got like pieces in the middle with no crust, not a fan. But the way they do the Detroit style, it's usually like 6 slices. It's a square, and they do 3 on each side. So you get a good amount of crust, but then 4 of the pieces are corners. So you get crust like all the way around it. And the depth, like you said, the crust is super crispy, I feel like, all the time. The depth is like perfect because it's Chicago deep dish is, and I know everybody, I'm not a Chicago deep dish guy. It just doesn't do it for me. Too much sauce. It's basically like a piece of pie. You can't pick it up and eat it with your hand. I do like New York style, but it is so thin. Did I tell you we went, this is getting a little sidetracked, but we went to this place called Columbia Inn, which is like a town over from us, and they got a 8.7 from Portnoy on the pizza scale, which is fucking high. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah, you did. We were FaceTiming and you showed us. You had to get
Well,
up
I'm
off the
talking
couch
about
to show us how thin the pizza was.
yes, I
Borderline
forgot if I
see-through.
told, yeah, if I told you on the pod or not, but that is like paper thin pizza where I like a little bit of depth. I'm a little doughy. I like a little bit of dough to it. And I honestly just think the Detroit style is the perfect in between. It's like when you hit your first drive OB left and then you hit your second drive in the shit to the right. That third one's going to be right down the middle. Like, the Detroit style is right down the middle for me. It's not too thick. It's not too thin. It's got a good crisp. And when we went to, what was that pizza spot? Was it Elmo's? No. What was the place we went in Detroit, which is like the OG Detroit pizza?
I have no clue, dude. You're
I
asking
gotta look it up.
worst memory of all time. But we did go to a Detroit style pizza place, and in Detroit, you kind of have to do that. And I'd never heard of a Detroit style pizza, to be completely honest with you. The thing I will say is I'm not a crust guy normally, but Detroit style made me be a crust guy. The way that that
Buddy's
tasted.
Pizza. Remember, we hit Buddy's Pizza, and yes, exactly. The Detroit style crust will make you be a crust guy.
Yeah, any other pizza, I'm eating up until the crust. And if it's one of those that's a big one where it's the square pieces in the middle where there's absolutely no crust at all, that's my all-time favorite piece of pizza. But I'm not obviously not a big pizza guy with my dairy scenario, and it doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it sits well with anyone, but I've just stayed away from it for so long that I generally try not to wade into those waters. But I did get a pizza the other day, like a week ago, and I got it with just goat cheese instead of mozzarella. And I had my life changed that day knowing that I could do that, because I hate being modification guy. As much as I don't like not being able to eat cheese.
You are a modification guy.
Hold on. Let me put it this way. I'm modification guy if I can type it into my phone. If I'm ordering it online and adding things, I'm definitely modification guy. But I can't go into a pizza place and be like, yes, sub goat cheese on that pizza. I would never be able to do that. I'm more of a, if I can type it in, it's that new age. I'm very Gen Z in that way, where I'd rather just put an online order in and go up, pick it up and in and out versus having to actually order and tell them all of my issues. And whenever we go to a nice restaurant, they're like, do you have any dietary restrictions? I always say no, because it's not bad enough to where it's going to put me under if I have a little bit of milk or cheese, but I generally order the things that I know don't come with that. And whether it's vegan macaroons, which I had Valentine's Day last week at our dinner, absolutely drop dead fire. One of the best things I've ever had in my life. Anyways, Detroit style pizza made me a crust guy, and I've actually got a couple slices that I'm going to throw in our little toaster oven here at the office and hammer out once we're done with this episode. So I will then go into another 2 to 3 hour coma. Then I'll say, oh, look, it's time to leave, and go home and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I get that. That's why I usually don't I think in an office job, you definitely have to have lunch, like a lunch hour just for your own sanity, just to break up the day. But when I'm operating as normal from the apartment, I usually drink a protein shake about 11 o'clock or so, and then I'll eat lunch. I'll eat something around like 2 or 3, because we usually eat dinner later. We usually eat dinner between like 7:30 and 8, which I know is probably not the best, but Missy doesn't get home until like 7, and then we kind of hang out for a bit. I make dinner. But yeah, the lunch hour in the middle of the day definitely is a thing. But from an eating standpoint, it fucks up your afternoon. Like, you're cooked after that. It is so hard to find any motivation to get an afternoon done. The morning is the best time to get shit done, because, and this is the same way when we worked at the golf course. I liked getting in there early because 10 a.m. hits and you're halfway done with your shift, if not more than half. So you're like, okay, I'm getting out of here 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Whereas you look at the clock and it's noon or 1, and you're like, I still got 4 or 5 hours of this shit. Like, my God. So
yeah, working a corporate 9 to 5 would not be, I'm kind of in that scenario right now, but it's also, I don't necessarily have to stay until 5, or I can kind of leave in the middle of the day or go in a little bit later. We had one of our guys from Jacob, Jacob from Arizona. He actually moved to Portland now, but he's here for a couple days this week. And he came into the office with Emma this morning, and it was like 9:45. And he was like, oh yeah, I forgot, or I've heard you're an early guy, because I was like one of the only people in the office putting up my dope big ass calendar. That's actually what it's called, the big ass calendar. It's a whole year. Send you a picture of it. It's fire. Kylie got it for me. I can plan out my fucking months and all this stuff. It's incredible. Color coded. I'm really pumped about it. But I was like, yeah, I guess technically for this job, this is early, but at a golf course, my shift would be halfway over by this time of the day. At 9:45, you're already like counting down the 3-hour mark until that 1 p.m. hits and you ski daddle out of there. So very different world when you work corporate versus working at a golf course, where you're up at 4 a.m., depending upon your drive, 4:30. And then most days you can get out by 2 or 3. It's really nice. That part of it is.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're an early morning guy, that is the way to go by far. What else? Did we have anything else from this weekend? I don't think so. We're going to Boston next weekend, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, big 3-0 coming up for you, my boy.
Oh yeah.
Only a couple more weeks of being in the 20s.
I saw somebody tweet that 29 is like the 19 of your 30s. Does that make any sense to you?
Well, it makes complete sense. It's the year before you get to, it's obviously.
I know, but I just liked the way they
revolutionary shit you just said there.
Yeah,
it's the most revolutionary tweet I've ever heard.
Like what you said earlier about Sawyer and a kid having the same birthday. Like, it's fucking insane.
The same exact fucking day. They were born on the same day, like not birthday.
I
not
understand.
Birthday, year. I don't think you understand the magnitude of that.
Do you understand there's
one
millions of people born every day?
Yeah, but they're the same age within hours, and we just randomly met them. I think you're underplaying how insane that is.
What
You're
I will
actually very
say
much are, and it's pissing me off.
No, what I will say is the fact that you actually talked to somebody else to
It
find
wasn't
that
me.
knowledge out.
It
Oh,
was
okay.
it was Kylie, 'cause
Okay.
I was not talking to
Because
them.
I
I
would
was
say that's
outside
more impressive than him actually having the same birthday as this kid. Like, the fact that you talk to anyone in public and you didn't just put your fucking head down. I'm surprised you didn't have an AirPod in at the time, just rolling around
oh, for
AirPods
fuck's
in.
sake.
I'm on a business call. Got to take this. Fucking tapping the. Oh, dude, I got big dicked by somebody that lives in our building. This fucking doctor lives above us, and I know he's a golfer. He's a member at Fiddler's Elbow, this country club out here, which is a pretty nice spot. And he knows that I'm a golf pro. We've talked about it before. And we get in the elevator, and I have my AirPods in. He has his AirPods in. And before I even say anything, like I go to pause my AirPods to say what's up. He goes, "I'm on the phone." I was like, "Oh, cool, dude, great." I was like, "Awesome, man." And then, oh, dude, and I just turned around. I was like, "Huh, what the fuck is this, dude?" I just was so shriveled at that point. I just got out of the elevator. I was like, "Okay, talk to you never, man." So that was that was a couple weeks ago, though. I'm still not really over it. The next time, and then there was one other time he saw me in the lobby, and it was like 0 degrees, and I was that trash panda going to pick up our Uber Eats order in like my fucking pajama shorts and a t-shirt, and he goes, "You're wearing shorts?" Him and his girlfriend were going out, and they're all bundled up. He's got his douchey ass scarf on and shit. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm just grabbing my food. It's right here in the lobby." Like, so we've had some unfortunate interactions. He is a gastroenterologist, though, so maybe he can look and see what all these farts are about. Maybe we can line out the fart situation that I got going over here, like why my body is just full of air 7 days a week, 365. So, other than that, I have no use to talk to the guy, and he keeps like a brand new Porsche down in the garage, and then he has like another Porsche across the street in my parking lot. And I like see him go over there to his second car, and I'm like getting in my fucking Hyundai Elantra. Like, he just shrivels me every chance he gets. I fucking hate doctors. This guy's just giving it to me, giving me the business on all ends.
He's just got you mentally in a pretzel.
Oh, and then I
Let's talk.
can definitely hear him and his girlfriend banging like half the time too. Missy and I are just laying in bed, fucking trying to go to sleep, and he's up there throwing hip. I'm like, this guy just is trying to live rent free. This guy owns me.
All right, let's talk about another guy that owns you and is gonna live rent free into your head. That is Brian Campbell. Let's talk about the Mexico Open. I'll let you get into your feels for a moment because it was quite the scenario.
Yeah. So where do we start? Let's start with the highs, the highs of it. Friday, Potgeiter played just about the best round I've seen anybody play on tour this year. Like, when that guy's game is on, he could be the best player in the world. And I don't think he ever will be. I don't think he'll ever even get close, which we'll get into during his Sunday round. I got to give him a little slack. He's 20 years old. He won on the Korn Ferry Tour last year.
Youngest winner of all time on the Korn Ferry Tour, by the way.
Yes, below Jason Day, which, seeing Jason Day back then, he looked like such a douchebag at 20. Like, Jason Day, I will say Jason Day's career spectrum he definitely took a right turn, because he was kind of trending in the douchebag trend in that role, and now he's kind of taken a turn into being cool. But Potgeiter, is it Geeter or Geiter? Let's just get that out of the way.
I think it's Geiter. Let's just go with Geiter for the sake of this.
Okay, Aldrich Potgeiter, absolute unit, 20-year-old kid. I don't understand how he swings it so hard. His swing does not look like he's moving it that fast. It's definitely more effort than Jake Knapp, because Jake Knapp looks like he's feathering it out there and he hits it 310. But Potgeiter is legitimately 10 to 15 yards longer than Knapp. Like, then I saw this video. I don't know if you saw this from a couple years ago. So Potgeiter would have been 18 years old. They were at the President's Cup. The President's Cup team, I forget where they were, but there was a net at the end of the range, and was it Nick Price or who's the other? Tim Clark, I think, is the other South African. Tim Clark, I think, was their coach. And Potgeiter's 18 at the time, and Adam Scott's hitting balls. All these President's Cup guys are hitting balls, and Tim Clark goes and grabs Potgeiter, and he goes over to Adam Scott and he goes, "Hey, hand him your driver. I want you to see this." So they said that nobody could get it to the fence at the end of this driving range. Potgeiter, not a single warm-up swing, nothing, takes Adam Scott's driver, hits it over the fence on the first swing. Over the fucking end of the range. Like, this dude has got another gear that I just cannot comprehend. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you have another gear like he does compared to the PGA Tour players like Rory, and granted, some of the longer hitters weren't in this, but Jake Knapp won this event last year, was in it again this year, and didn't play very well. And that's not necessarily a direct correlation to how far he was hitting it. But this guy has a different gear compared to every PGA Tour player. Not like, oh, he's on the upper echelon of distance on the PGA Tour, and he's way up in the top half. Like, there's the furthest guy that's behind him, and then a Costco at this point, relatively speaking, and then Potgeiter. It's unbelievable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he was flying at 320 pretty consistently. And that's at sea level, maybe a little bit of elevation down near the mountains, but they're also right by the ocean. I think it's got to be pretty close to sea level. But when that guy is on, he's got to be one of the most unstoppable players. So first of all, if you look at his strokes gained, it's fucking insane. Potgeiter and Brian Campbell would make an all-time scramble group. I think they need to play together. Maybe they can get into the fucking Zurich together. That talk about a story that would really warm the heart. Because Campbell's wedges are absurd. The guy can get up and down from inside a paper bag. And Potgeiter's ball speed, I think on 18 yesterday, he was consistently at 193 to 195. Like, that is a different zip code. For people that don't understand, 1 mile an hour ball speed usually equates to about 2 to 2.5 yards. And his ball speed was 30 miles an hour faster than Campbell's. Consistently, 30. Which then equates to about 60 to 70 yards of distance. And the fact that these two, that is truly the beauty of golf. The fact that these two are even in the same position in the playoff, and the ultimate irony of it all is you have the longest player on tour versus the shortest player on tour on a par 5, and somehow the longest player, the Goliath of this situation, gets taken down by the fucking little what do you call that? The
David.
Well, David, but was David's slingshot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
David's little fucking slingshot, and that, excuse my French, that motherfucking tree out of bounds. I could not believe what I saw. There was definitely a part of me that I didn't, when I saw that ball going out of bounds, I'm like, it's going to come back in. Like, I did not think for a second that it was over. But I was thinking that with the thought of, and this all happening in a split second, by the way. I'm watching the ball go out of bounds, and I'm reverse psychologying myself into being like, I think this is going to come back in, so it'll stay out. Which it did not. It came back in. Campbell's got to lie in the fucking dirt with 3-wood. It's like sitting down between two clumps of grass on the dirt with a tree, in not in the way, but to keep it under. He hits 3-wood to 60 yards, flips it to 2 feet, completely flipped. And this is another thing. Like, I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but I firmly believe, especially in a match play situation like that, although Potgeiter had the advantage distance-wise, Campbell being the first to play in all of those situations gave him such an advantage. Being the shorter guy in any match play scenario gives you such an advantage. If you can capitalize and put pressure, you are always the aggressor in that scenario. And look at what Potgeiter did. I mean, blowing it fucking 30 yards left on the second playoff hole or the first playoff hole. The second playoff hole. And so let's get into this. Where do we want to start? Do you want to talk about his caddy? Do we want to talk about his short game? Do we want to talk about his weekend performance? Where should we start?
Well, I'll let you go in on the caddy. I'm unearthing some text to go through. We'll do a daily reading of your text thread throughout the weekend, which will be pretty funny. But I just, as unfair as it is, because I've never been in that position, it just felt to me like nerves. And I know they overplay that a ton in professional sports, like, oh, the nerves got to him. And it's very real. I've talked about this. One of the most unbelievable things relating this to basketball, just because it sticks out in my head, is if you go watch an NBA game and you go to warmups where these guys are shooting with nobody around them, any player in the NBA makes like 9 of 10 threes, 8 of 10 threes. And the amount of shots that they make when nobody's around is ungodly. And they get in the game and they miss their first 4 or 5 shots from three wide open in a game scenario. So the nerves do get to professional athletes, but I just saw, and I'm saying this very unliterally, just relating the two because of how I feel on the golf course. I saw so much of Aldrich in myself. If I ever have an important golf swing, like I felt like he was still going after the driver, but like the putts were low and short. He was chipping it semi-aggressively, or chipping it to the point where he didn't want to leave himself on the, short side of the green. Like a couple chips, he was short-sided on Sunday. He didn't want to leave himself even more short, so he hit it 15 feet past. And granted, he had a few just absolute bombs on Sunday that kept him in it, and really he shouldn't have made those. Like, he should have lost that tournament, not before the playoff. If you're just looking at Sunday's round and where he started, if you're looking at the whole week, of course, he should have probably won the tournament. But when you just watch him play on Friday, and shoot 61, and then you see that same guy play that same golf course 2 days later and look completely terrified of it, it just goes to show you how golf can get you like that. You can go out and have your best round ever, play that same course 2 days later, and not be able to find your ass with both hands in a fucking search party. And that's kind of how it felt with him on Sunday. And I did want to say, just real quick before we get too much into Potgeiter and the event, I can't really tell if it's because we had money on Potgeiter. We had money on Isaiah Salinda, who finished T3, easily hit our top 10 bets and top 20 bets. But for a nothing burger event, your exact quote, I've never been locked in like this before. And so I can't tell. I'm sure most of it is the betting aspect of it. And we don't condone betting more money than you have, whatever, call the number, whatever they're supposed to say. This is not an official gambling read. But the fact that the Mexico Open turned into such a good event towards the end, I think a lot of people were actually locked in. I think for what the Mexico Open was last year, even with Jake Knapp winning, compared to this year, and neither of the two names, Aldrich Potgeiter or Brian Campbell, were. Aldrich's a name for us because you've talked about him a lot. We've seen how fast he swings it, and maybe that helps too, him being literally number one on the tour in driving distance and Campbell being number 182 out of 182. I think overall, the event ended up being a pretty big win for the PGA Tour and people watching golf this weekend.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And that kind of raises the question, because the field strength here was obviously nothing to write home about. But the competition itself and the tension down the stretch, it made for such a good event. And like you said, it wasn't like everyone had this marked on their calendars to fucking watch the Mexico Open. Like, once again, my girlfriend walks in the room and she goes, I don't know any of these guys on the leaderboard. Like, who are all these guys? So that's kind of on the PGA Tour. But when it comes down to it, if you have a good competitive round with guys battling it out, it doesn't matter if it's fucking Rory and Ludwig and Bryson, or if it's Brian Campbell and Steven Yeager and Isaiah Salinda and fucking Aldrich Potgeiter. If you're getting good golf shots and you're getting drama, you're going to get eyeballs. Like, I would love to see the TV ratings from this weekend, because I bet it killed relative to what it normally does. And obviously a playoff helps, but the drama of the ball going out of bounds and coming back in, Potgeiter lacing it up the fairway every time and then not hitting the green and trying to get it up and down. And I mean, there were so many times where it was such a roller coaster, because I asked a million times, I'm like, should I cash out? I had a $350 offer, a $400 offer. I think the biggest probably was going into the weekend with a 4-shot lead. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to kick myself if he wins, and I bitched out. But in the long run, I should have just, and that's just, investing 101, cash out while you're up, because you can either ride it to zero or you can hit a home run, but there's a really good chance you're not going to hit a home run. And I also do kick myself because Campbell, middle of Saturday, was plus 750 to win. So I could have thrown $100 on him and made 750 when Yeager was making a run middle of Saturday, and then Yeager kind of fell off. But in that golf course too, like, really lent itself. It is an easier course, relatively speaking, but there's a lot of hard holes out there as well. Like the 9th hole, the 10th hole, there's a stretch of holes where some of these par 4s were 500 yards. Like,
Dude,
Campbell was hitting
I think it
7
was
wood.
8,
Yeah,
8 or 9. Everybody made bogey yesterday.
Yeah.
It was like an impossible hole to make a par on.
Oh, I think it was 8, because I think 9's the par 3.
Yeah, there's multiple guys with like wood in their hand going into the green, and I'm like, wait, did they fuck up the graphic? Is this a par 5 or is this actually a par 4?
No, well, and the crazy thing is, the par 4 before it is 310 yards, and Potgeiter the first 2 days was getting it in front of the green with an iron. Oh, another thing that Aldrich did, he switched the clubs he was carrying in his bag on Sunday. He took a 3-wood out and added a 2-iron. Or even a 5-wood or something. He added a 2-iron and took out his 3-wood, which I think was a grave fucking mistake. I mean, the dude can hit 2-iron from anywhere, don't get me wrong. But when you're nervous, you just tell me, when you have nerves, what is the club you least want to hit?
3-wood.
Really? Not a 4-iron.
Yeah.
You'd rather hit a 4-iron.
I'd rather hit a 4-iron. I'm not a fair comparison, because I top a 3-wood 50% of the time if I'm not nervous.
Okay. Well, let's put it this way. If you have nerves, you least want to hit the hardest club to hit in your bag. And for Potgeiter, I guarantee you that's his 2-iron. So on 10, where he made one of his fucking 18 bogeys yesterday, it's a 500-yard par 4 into the wind. He tees off with a fucking 2-iron. He hits 2-iron off the tee. Now, I don't know if this is caddy or this was him. He hits 2-iron, hits it high right into the wind. He's got 240 yards in. So then he tries to hit a 4-iron from the rough, comes up short left, awkward stance, chips it to 20 feet. Luckily, ends up making par. Like you said, he made a few clutch putts that really kind of saved his bacon. But the 2-iron, I just do not, when you're under stress, under nerves, I don't care how good of a ball striker you are. Hand me a hybrid or a fucking 5-wood any day of the week over a 2-iron. Like, that is just common sense, in my opinion. So number one, problem there. Number two, his caddy not giving him yardages, not encouraging him to go at the middle of greens, to play it. And I guess I got to pick a side here, because he was playing so aggressive Thursday, Friday, and tearing down flags, had a 4-shot lead going into the weekend. He was careering it. But you got to dial it back a little bit on these holes where par is a good score. How many times yesterday did Potgeiter make such an unwarranted bogey, such an unforced fucking bogey, where the par 3 comes to mind, number 9. he short sides himself. He's trying to draw something back into this back left corner. Wind is in off the right. He overcooks one, and then he's short sided, chips it 30 feet past, misses the 30-footer, obviously, makes bogey from 170 yards, where he's hitting 9-iron. Like, hit a 9-iron in the middle of the green 2-putt and get the fuck out of there. And then, what was it, the second hole or third hole? He has 115 yards in the fairway. He's got, on a 450-yard par 4, he has 115 yards in. He hits it past pin high, bounces over the green. He chips it on left. I think he chipped it short and then chipped it on like 7 feet past and made the 7-footer. He absolutely butchered that from 115 out in the middle of the fairway. If he would have just hit a 60-degree and his caddy would have been like, this is our number, I don't want it past this. But you can't tell me, even with a few yards downwind from the fairway, if it was out of the rough, I would have given him some slack. He cannot hit that ball past that flag short-sided downwind under those circumstances ever. Like, if you're his caddy, you're thinking, especially when you're caddying for a dude that hits it fucking 340 yards, you're thinking we can attack the drivable par 4, we can attack the par 5s, and we need fucking 13 pars. If we can make 13 pars and 5 birdies, which you're going to have an iron in on most of the par 5s besides a really long one where you hit driver off the deck and still fucking hit a phenomenal shot. But he was caddying it, and I really do think, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I think Aldrich actually overrode him on a few of the things. And that's kind of just on the immaturity of him being a 20-year-old. But when and this was kind of telling for me. So on the second playoff hole, Potgeiter had like 215 yards in, and the wind's off the left. The caddy, so the two guys are mic'd up, Aldrich and his caddy, and the caddy goes, it's just off the left. And Aldrich goes, do you think it's helping? And the caddy tells him, no, it's not helping. It's just off the left. And then split second, Aldrich goes, I can feel it helping right now. Give me the 6-iron. Like, he just made the split decision, and the caddy goes, you have to draw this. And Aldrich's like, I know. He's like, you have to. And drawing a ball up against the left to right wind is going to kill the distance anyway. So he would have been better off fading it with the wind if he needed a few more yards out of it. But we all know what happened. Aldrich stripes 6-iron from 215, lands in the lip of the bunker. He needed 2 more yards, and it would have probably rolled out to 10, 15 feet. Ends up in the bunker, doesn't get it up and down, loses in the playoff. But in that instant, like, everybody was just dogging his caddy, and rightfully so. There was multiple times where I thought his caddy was fucking terrible. But in that interaction, his caddy was actually encouraging him to take more club, and Aldrich kept waving him off, and then he told him the wind was wrong. And who knows, maybe Aldrich knew the caddy had made so many fucking bad decisions that he's like, I'm not listening to this motherfucker anymore. Like, I need to do what I think is best. But there was just so many times throughout the tournament where, in hindsight's obviously 2020, but there were so many times throughout Saturday and Sunday where there was just no thought in my mind that Aldrich was going to win that golf tournament. For having the lead for 80% of that time, it just did not feel like he had it sealed by any means. And like you said, I think it came down to some nerves. That's first approach shot he hit in the playoff, I haven't seen him hook a ball all fucking week. And I can tell you from a fundamental standpoint, he really like moves his hips laterally at the top of his backswing down into the ball. He really moves, he kind of slides into the ball, but then he rotates really hard. On that iron swing, he just slid and never rotated, got caught on his back foot, flip hooks it, goes 40 yards left of the fucking green. And he hasn't hit that shot all week. So that right there is nerves 1000%. I guarantee it. He had a little bit of mud on the ball, but there was definitely nerves to be involved. And lastly, do you have anything so far?
No, I'm just getting into our readings here.
Oh, okay.
So I'm prepping.
So, real quick, I just want to talk about his short game. His chipping needs a complete overhaul. I am not kidding you when I say he is chipping it with such a closed club face. He uses 60 degree everywhere. So you're probably just like, I was going to say, you see yourself in him. Because he uses 60 degree everywhere. He was playing bunker shots with a hooded club face. Like, this guy needs some fucking he needs what is it called where you sit down
intervention?
Yes, he needs a short game intervention. I don't know if Joseph Mayo can do it. I don't know who can get him to lay the club face open to weaken his grip and play short shots with an open club face, because that first bunker shot he hit in the playoff, I saw him, the top of his backswing, his fucking club face is pointing down towards the ground. That is not how you play a bunker shot in a million fucking years. And then these short shots where he's racing it 20, 30 feet past on a 10-yard pitch, you're not doing that with a wide open club face. And I'm not saying it needs to be fucking laid flat down looking up at the sky, but this guy is playing every short shot with a hooded club face, and it completely murdered his short game yesterday. There was rarely, he hit a few good pitch shots, like the one on the par 5 was really good. But other than that, whenever he needed to go high, and the shot on 18, I was irate in the playoff when he hit it left of the green. He pulls 60 degree from like 40 yards out. He has all the green in the world to work with. Pulls a 60 degree, lands it in a good spot. Guess what? It fucking checks up. There's too much loft on it. And then it stops 20 feet short of the hole. He obviously misses the 20-footer. There's just so many shots where, and I'm not saying I'm any fucking short game wizard. I will say that I feel pretty good about my short game, and relatively speaking, I can get it around the greens. But this guy needs to do something about his chipping, because for as good as he is off the tee and in the fairway, he is that bad around the greens. Like, I think he maybe was close to last in the field around the greens, at least on Sunday.
Yeah, there was a funny thing about strokes gained from his caddy, and somebody said strokes gained caddy
-7
7 point something. Yeah, hilarious. So let's go through some of your texts throughout the weekend. We'll start on Thursday. All caps, Potgeiter. Come on, baby boy. He's second in driving and near last in everything else. He's gonna fucking bogey 8. Fucking hillbilly. That's what, you all sent that to me.
Yeah.
Then getting mad at Michael Kim because he was your one and done pick. Jesus, you see Potgeiter shot on 1. This is Friday now. Almost hold it. Hit it 335 off the tee. Hit a flip wedge to an inch. Let's fucking go. And I said, did you put American currency on him? And you said, yes, American currency. Aldrich from downtown with a GIF. This one's great. I'm going to crash out so bad if my guys shit the bed. I need this. LOL. Been getting whacked on the stock market. Make me feel alive, my boy. And then I put money on him. He said, love that. You said, love that for us. Don't mush my guy. Then an hour later, my God, this guy is prime Tiger Woods. Driver hot. Putter hot. Wedges hot.
Have you ever seen anybody get higher and lower on a single dude throughout a week of golf?
No. The roller coaster from you was even funnier. Let's see here. Should I hedge on Potgeiter at all? He played so well, I could see a come down type of round.
Was I wrong?
I've never been so locked in on a nothing burger event than I am this weekend. And then I think this was an accident. I don't think this had to do with golf. I just almost had doo-doo butter in my pants.
That was aside from the golf. That did not have to do with the golf.
My God, Potgeiter is a machine. 192 ball speed. Fucking bang. My girlfriend just asked if we're going to watch this the rest of the round. And I said, what the fuck do you think? Campbell needs to lay off. It's giving me a cash out. Should I take it or should I ride? Am I being a bitch? Big Pot needs a birdie on 18. My asshole is tight.
And that's not even Sunday yet, is it?
No. Now it's Sunday. This is great podcasting here.
I got a couple that I know I sent. Fucking
Oh,
Christ.
bro,
Aaron
I'm sick.
I can't miss.
I may never be the same. I'll never have another chance as good at that. I'm in disbelief. Campbell turns 6 into 4, all-timer. I'm so fucking bummed. That was the roller coaster of the weekend.
One other one. Jesus Christ, I can't do this shit. He's so cooked. Jesus Christ, he's rattled. He's got to turn it around at some point. If Potgeiter doesn't make this putt on 11 after getting 2 separate reads, I'm going to be sick. He has no chance of making it. I hope 2 gloves beta boy Rye fucking twists his ankle on a sprinkler head. Please, Potsy boy, Jesus Christ, you leave it short. Don't bully me. I'll end it all. I'm on tilt right now. Bro, his tee shot was in the air for 12 seconds. I thought it was a NASA launch. I've never been so in love with somebody's golf game. It truly felt like I was in an abusive relationship this weekend with Aldrich Potgeiter. I've never had the highs. That'll be like, that meme where the spider or that one action figure's like laying in bed with a frame looking at it. That'd be me with Aldrich Potgeiter. I was just in disbelief. The fact that he doesn't birdie that 18th hole that's virtually a par 4 for him every single time. He almost made bogey on Saturday there. And then, okay, I got to say something else. Nota Begay can go fuck himself. I think he's the worst fucking announcer I've ever seen, I've ever listened to. Fuck Paul A. Zinger. Bring Zinger back, that old crustacean. I'd rather listen to him than Nota Begay spew this dribble about shit-talking Potgeiter the entire time. He was nut riding fucking anybody with a Stanford logo on there. No surprise. He's been riding Tiger Woods' coattails his entire career. The guy's won 1 fucking Alamo Open back 30 years ago, and he somehow got a national TV broadcasting job. I cannot stand listening to that fucking guy. He single-handedly, he's like the dealer at a blackjack table that is like the worst mood, the worst vibe killer you've ever had in your life. He completely killed the vibes. I honestly should have cashed out when I had to listen to that motherfucker talk bad about my player the entire Sunday, just picking apart his game left and right, talking about Campbell, who, by the way, hasn't made a cut on the PGA Tour. He made 1 cut like 8 years ago. He's been on the Corn Ferry. And the sad part is like any other week, I would be so happy for Brian Campbell. Like, this dude genuinely has grinded his dick off for the last better part of a decade on the Corn Ferry Tour, never in this position, gets the break of his life, takes advantage of it, makes birdie on the second playoff hole to win. Like, talk about turning fucking water into wine. The guy, I thought there was no chance he could win after that break he got. I thought he was going to be so rattled, and just cool as a cucumber, flips a fucking 65-yarder in there to 2 feet. I was sick.
Yeah, there was an interview with his caddy where he's like, his caddy was hyping him up as he was going up to the green. He's like, I'll take your short game over anyone in the world. And yes, it did suck because we were on Potgeiter, and that was like a very big moment for you because you picked a winner at basically plus 6,000. And big moment in general, I think, is just we were emotionally invested and also literally invested in Potgeiter. But Brian Campbell winning was a cool story, and there was some funny things afterwards where they went out to the hole and thanked the tree, and you kind of came down off your ledge. You took the rope off of around your neck, took the, step down on the ladder a little bit during that. But as much as it did suck for us personally and financially, big shout out to Brian Campbell, because that shit's really cool. And somebody tweeted, I can't believe we didn't see this coming. And it was like his last 10 finishes on the tour. It was like 7 cuts, a T51, like it just nothing good from that guy. And then he goes out and wins the Mexico Open and now has as his caddy said, a job for 2 more years. And his wife was very into it. I mean, I'm sure she's seen him grind. Like these are the cool stories that come out of golf. It was just unfortunate that it came at our demise and our financial backing of the Potsy. Big pots.
Yeah, there is definitely I went through the phases of grief pretty quickly. I was laughing hysterically about 10 minutes later, just thinking about how fucking unlucky do I have to be? Like it is hard to put into words how unlucky you have to be to ride one horse. One horse looks like they got fucking kicked off the track. Somehow they get bounced back in and then they beat you. On top of feeling like your horse is the fastest horse in the world and you're running against fucking Franklin the Turtle over here. And Franklin the Turtle just comes up, end of the race, fucking runs right past you. There's definitely a point last night trying to go to sleep where I was like thinking about Aldrich's short game and just what he can improve on. I need to reach out to him. I don't know how I can get access to him. Maybe I can help him with a short game. Maybe we can get that club face a little more open. Get a little bit more down on his angle of attack with those short wedges because it was just devastating to watch. Like I would have taken a celeb shot for him on some of those chips, and I'm pretty confident I would have easily gotten it closer. And I'm not in the minority. I think I could have given my dog, my non-existent dog, a chip shot, and he would have gotten it closer than that. So definitely nerves. I'm going to put a pin in this. I'm going to wrap this up here. The nerves were high. Aldrich needs to figure a short game out. He's one of the most electric players I've ever watched. I will be watching him. He's going to be a dark horse for me every week where bombers are welcome. And I just don't know if I can bet on golf anymore. I don't know if I can take winners. I think I'm off of betting on winners. Top 10s, I can live with. Top 10s, I'm good with. But betting a winner on the PGA Tour, I might as well build a fucking spaceship and try to go to Mars. I don't think it's ever going to happen for me. I could pick Scotty Scheffler every fucking week, and he'd have a winless season. I'm not built to pick a PGA Tour winner. It's just never. It's something that I've come to realize is never going to happen for me. And you know, the quicker I realize that, the happier I'm going to be. So I'm moving on. I'm past it.
The quicker you give that up, the more likely it will come to you. When you stop looking for it, it'll come to you. So with that, we have our picks coming out Wednesday for the Cognizant Classic. Mitchell's back on the horse. He needs a couple days. Let's wrap this Monday edition up with a little Mulligan Monday. My mouse is dead, and we're going to get to Mulligan Monday. Look at that graphic. For those of you not watching on the YouTube, check it out, youtube.com.
Tyrrell.
Big Energy Golf, Tyrrell Hatton on there. If you are watching on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up on your way out. We'd appreciate it. I'll start with Mulligan Monday. This has to do with my gym. I've been working out pretty consistently with your bestie, your friend from child age. We meet at the gym at 5 a.m. every single week, Monday through Thursday. And I've been working out more in...
Wait, who's that?
Logan. Me and
You've
Logan
been working out with Logan? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've been lifting for like a month. We work out Monday through Thursday, at 5 a.m. And I've been getting into a vibe where also it's been fucking so cold here that I've been working out in sweats and or long pants a lot more.
Is this a Choose? Where were you working out?
Yeah, Choose
Okay.
Right by my house. So I've been working out in sweats a lot more, which is not a thing for me. I'm normally always shorts and I have compression shorts on or whatever. So the other day, I'm usually pretty tired when I go in there. It's 5 a.m. and it's dark and it's cold, and I had sweats on, and I forgot that I was working out in sweats. So I go to the open lockers just right next to the door. I unlock the locker, I take my jacket off, and I pull my pants down all to my ankles because I normally do that to get to my shorts, and I didn't have any shorts on. So I was just ass cheeks out in my compression shorts, which wasn't too bad. I mean, if I was a little more confident in my package, I'd probably just work out in compression shorts, but I'm not. So basically, yeah, I was just ass out, and it was awkward because I had to like pull them right back up. I forgot that I was working out in sweats that day, no shorts on underneath. And yeah, just an unfortunate situation. I forgot I didn't have a pair of shorts, and I just dropped my drawers right in front of everyone at the gym.
That's pretty good. I mean, I don't necessarily have one exact thing that like sticks out. Obviously the Potgeiter situation, devastating. Last Thursday we did go out, and this distillery that's pretty close right here in Morristown, they do espresso martini flights, and
That's fire.
It was fire. Espresso martini flights, and then I had a few cocktails after that, and then we went to the bar to watch the hockey game after that, and I had some Guinness, and I was very bloated. My stomach was in a fucking knot the next day. So that wasn't great. And then this whole simulator thing, I would say this is just a general Mulligan, is I always get so hot. Like I love going to the simulator, but I get so fucking hot that I start like, do you ever let your hats get to the point where they stink and you can like smell them? And you can't
I don't let that happen, but it has happened. Like I don't intentionally
like you can't tell if the person you're talking to fucking stinks or you stink. Like I had that where I was like, fucking, oh my God. So I had to wash my hats. Yeah, I'm just downtrodden. I'm at a loss. And then just watching, the Nuggets shit the bed, the Avs shit the bed, just felt like I got fucking punched in the teeth all weekend. So sliding into 30 pretty nicely. Maybe I can get around to golfing this week, but yeah, nothing in general, just my whole situation, just life, just one
Just
big
life.
Mulligan. Would love a Mulligan when I went back on Wednesday and bet on Potgeiter. Wish I would have thrown it on Brian Campbell plus 27,000.
Or just a Mulligan on the cash out and just taking it. But
yes, and
you cash out, you gamble to gamble, and you gambled and you lost, but it was about the memories we made along the way.
But it feels like that's a story every fucking time. You gamble and you lose.
Yeah.
I need the Adam Sandler scene from fucking what's that, Bricked Up, Diamond Up. I need that scene. This is where I win.
Yeah.
There's maybe
we'll play that for you on Wednesday.
Yes, my pick. I've never felt as confident about a top 10 pick. I've been eyeing this guy at this event. I'm not shitting you, since January. I have been looking this dude square in his goofy ass eyes, ready to pick him at the Cognizant Classic for the Florida Swing. He will win in Florida. I am going to continue to bet him. If it's not this week, it'll be next week. But this week, I'll fucking be a little bit richer for it.
Yep, we will get to all of that Wednesday. We appreciate you tuning into this edition of Big Drive Energy. I'm at Big Drive Spence. He's at Big Drive Mitch. Follow us on all the socials: YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Did you not have any Subway tales?
Subway tales we'll save for Wednesday. Subway stories will be Wednesday, because I've got a good one, and I may unearth another one tomorrow when I go to Subway. So Subway stories will begin Wednesday. We appreciate you all tuning in. Give us a thumbs up on the way out if you're watching on the YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast audibly, give us a rating on our show. We would appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys on Wednesday. Peace.
Just got to